in the content creation process, right? Our target audience is the focus, they are center, right? And regardless of whether you're selling a B2B or B2C, these people whom we are targeting content is human, and they have emotions, they have desires, their own suspicion. So anything that works, only the context change, the arguments change, but the framework still works because we are
Yes.
touching the emotions, fear, dreams, desires. Now, when we are in B2B, we are talking about fears, dreams, desire of this decision maker who can be CMO, CFO. But when we are talking about B2C, it can be this house or the person like a sports person who is want to do the gym and take protein powder, any kind of this person who is driven by emotions, fears, dreams there. So in all likelihood, this framework is applicable in both of these cases. Only the current framework is highly optimized towards B2B. So when you do B2C, you can skip some of the questions. And when you skip some of the questions, you don't fill some category, it doesn't mean that you are not able to use the framework. As you fill more context, it get more and more better and better, right? So there's also trade-off. You get more information. If suppose you get wrong information, then you are running the risk that you get too much content which is not creative enough, and it is only talking about what you input, right? So that's where I wanted to touch this trade-off, and it's not really necessary that in the first bit you wanted to answer all these questions. You can answer a few questions, see whether this content is usable. If you see that this is not usable still, then you wanted to go back, feed more information to it, and this is kind of optimization process. But of course, we are learning from it, and we also wanted to give some indication to user that at this point of time, if you feel like 10% of the information, hey, you're ready to go with the, you're ready to go with a, you're ready to go here. This is something that we are learning and trying to implement. But for us also, it's kind of trial and error to implement that process, right?
Sure.
So on very high level, before I go, like when you log in to the tool, you can start with the workspace name. You can attach it to a domain. Currently, you are a lifetime member, so you got this opportunity to have the 10 workspace, attach it to 10 different domains. So if you are working for 10 different clients, I will make 10 different workspaces, attach it to the 10 different domains.
Harish, um, can I use my one default domain but have different workspaces for it because I have different products and services?
Sure, sure. That was my next thing. So when you are having one big domain and you want to try different audience sets, so you wanted to try a slight variation of your market research, or you have a different product offer, then you can tie up with the 10 different workspaces. So you are free to choose in a way which suits your need, right? If I'm starting a business, I would recommend not to target too many different buyer personas because then your message get lost. But if you are already into market for next 10 years and you have established product and services, you are retrying your market research, then of course you can create 10 different things. Or even if you are starting new, you can do the A/B testing of your buyer persona. So you change some arguments and see how it's going to reflect in the second one. Suppose if you are a content marketer, you wanted to target only the B2C segment, and especially in the health and fitness sector, right? Then you also want to add some additional layer to it. You can create new workspace and then try to understand how the research or the arguments will change when I target a different set of audience. But the whole idea with CrawlQ is to really niche down, so really go into very specific set of target audience, and then try to create your research argument and feed it into the content creation process. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you create a workspace, you can I have a pre-created workspace. Before I jump into like too much detail, what I wanted to highlight here is that when you start a business and when you wanted to create content, being as a solopreneur or working as a team, being a startup, what happens most of the time that your product development is separate, your sales and marketing is separate. So you see them into three dimensions, right? And be it a small company, be it a solopreneur or bigger companies, there is a quite gap between how the product development team think, how the marketing team implement those packaging of that product to the target audience, and how then salespeople really understand it. If you are one person, you are also thinking three dimensions to it. You have product development, you need to market it, and you have to sell it also, right? So these three dimensions, and they are quite disconnected when you see from the from your own experience. So most of the time, we don't have a comprehensive framework which connect these three things together. And that's what we are trying to solve with this tool, that you have a solid understanding and product market fit and your target audience, right? It's not only target market research, but when you start doing this, you also get new insights, new dimensions, new perspectives that you can think about of your product or service. So if you have not done yet product market fit or a service market fit, who is your right target audience, then this research really help you not only marketing and researching, but also validation of your idea, business idea. It could be a service, it can be a product, it can be a coaching product, any kind of product, right? So this is one of the critical gap in the industry, and that's what we are trying to solve with this product, to bring the three things together. Now, this is very high level. When I talk about the content creation or this business strategy, the moment you have a website, most of the people ask you to do SEO, search engine optimization. So you start with website, you have some SEO plugin, and then SEO guy will tell you, hey, you need to find H1 tag, you need to do keyword research, you need to do image tag optimization, and most of the time people get started with keyword research. So they try to find some high ranking, high volume keyword and low cost dollar CPC. I'm not sure at what stage you have seen it. If you're completely new to SEO, then you might hear most of the time that you need to rank in search engine for certain keywords, right? This is what you keep hearing.
Yes, 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 yes. It's very common. I mean, we
Yeah,
hear from the
yeah,
marketing
yeah.
perspective that to be quite
Indeed, indeed. And
easy.
that's how every one of us has been told from many years, last 10 years. And this is how everyone is sort of brain wired to think about this problem like this. But if you see all this SEO is designed by search engine to make their life easy. As all Google is coming with their own webmaster guidelines, and they run their expensive paid ad program, and from there you pull this data. A lot of these tools which are SEO tool pull the data of which keyword, what is the click CPC value of this, how much click, how much dollar you need to pay for getting those click, and then people use this information to create also organic content, which is sort of indirect way or very sort of convoluted way to reach to your goal. The important thing to understand here is over the last few years, last 2 3 years, Google is not anymore a search engine. It's more like an answering machine. It can answer more long, deeper questions. So when you nowadays you go to Google, you're not typing one single keyword or even two, three keywords together. You are just typing your intent, like how to reach from point A to point B within this time, how to automate my content creation process, doing this and that, right? So you are having intent and you are also asking it as if it's a friend next sitting to your next chair, and you're trying to get information. So this has become more like a semantic search and contextual search. It take into a lot of factors where you are from, history, personal preferences, and it's anymore not anymore a search engine, but more an answering machine. So any kind of approach that you use from last 10 years, it only works when you're established player, and most of the people have exhausted all the keywords that they can use, right? So even if you follow the best search engine practices, you can optimize one or two or three content and bring a lot of traffic on your website. But this only helps you to bring traffic, but not really convert that traffic into sort of qualified lead, paying customers. This whole SEO approach so far, and now if you even use it in the best possible way, can only bring you traffic, not the right traffic. When I say right traffic, I really mean the real people who are really interested in your audience. They have the real people who are interested in your product, right? Those audience. And everyone is starting from extreme left side. And that's the reason we say, okay, this is not the right approach. We wanted to start from the right side, from the market research. And when you boil down this approach, when you do the extensive market research, you not only get keywords or long tail search intent, but you really get the in-depth understanding about your target audience. And then you can use this insight to create content. And idea is same, like when your target audience read this content, is compelling, is persuasive, then they are going to like it, share it, and search engine will also automatically pick it up. So if you listen Google recently, they are saying that our bot or algorithm is as good as human, as good as a user who's trying to understand the content of your website, right? And if we follow this approach, starting from target audience, market research, we are not only creating highly optimized content for website, but also for social media, for anything that we do online, right? So the scope becomes more wider when we start from this approach. So you're not only creating blog content, which is good for Google, but good for our target audience. And this was the main reason we wanted to make this framework like this. So start with target audience. Now, Vijay asked me how far I should go deep into it. It really depends on your service, product. If you are really very, very specific player, right? And you are serving a specific target audience, I would suggest to go a bit deeper into this process. Now, how much deeper is quite difficult for me to tell, but we can quantify it. Like I have a project here, which I have completed all the market research here. Like in this project, I have done everything. And then another project I have here where I have maybe I touch only 5 or 10% of it. It's only 6%. It's only like few categories that I have filled. Now I can still generate content. That's not a problem because now I am giving a little context to AI and asking it to be more creative, right? But when the content you read it, is that good enough? If it is not good enough, then maybe it is too much deviating from your research. So let me give me an example. So if you are creating a content, let's say for protein powder, right? And you have a specific target audience like young people who are sports people and they wanted to get benefit out of this protein powder. The whole internet is about 80% of the content on internet is about health, fitness, weight loss. So any kind of AI, you send this context, you get the output, right? It's rich enough because these models are trained well on this kind of big data. But when I'm talking about a specific education program, which is targeting to a specific customers where data is less, then we really need to go a bit more deeper into our research and then feed that context. And still, there is some trade-off because more context I provide, that means the content become more specific, but also we lose some bit creativity in it. So that creativity has to be balanced somewhere, right? Does it make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yes, Arish, I mean, from my perspective, I think you're making perfect sense. I think the deeper you go, then the less generic, I mean, I suppose the algorithms will understand better
Mm-hmm.
within the parameters of whatever you're discussing, because I think whatever you sort of perceive and put forward, it will then intelligently, give the right output. I mean, that's my take.
Victor,
To some degree, I understand in this way that let's take niches, for instance.
they have forms which you have to fill to get some output, but these forms have very little input actually. You just put very little text and you just pray that they will provide something usable.
Yeah.
I understand that you have much more diverse and more optimized way of capturing some thoughts about what I want. And therefore the output might be less chaotic and more usable.
That's what we are trying to achieve here basically, right? So here you see my niche was very high level, schools and colleges and students and teacher. This is very high level, but in another project, I was very deep into a specific category of people and deep diving into it. The way it works is like if you have rough idea, like who is your target audience, you like identify 3, 4 questions, and you are going to say generate insights. So these insights, of course, these are still we call it beta because we are optimizing on it. But these insights give you enough further direction to refine these statements like niche, sub niche, micro niche, because it's very descriptive enough, right? You start with like my audience here was schools and colleges. So it says your audience is students and teachers who want to learn new skills. The problem that your niche is facing is the education system is failing in their digital age and they are asking questions. These kind of insights that you generate here sometimes will give you further information which you can optimize this here. And the roadblock that you have sometimes is that you wanted to just get a content and next 15 minutes you wanted to publish it. If you are into that workflow, then this tool is not right for you. Why? Because here you first set up your project to do your target audience research. Every bit that you get here, you can convert back into a nice post, a document, or for yourself, a good research to start doing it. Because if you have a writing assignment from someone who's just paying you like 50 British pound to do that assignment, I'm not sure if that is the ROI that you wanted to spend so much time and get that research. But if you are a business person, if you are running a business, if you wanted to go deep into the problem pain points, then I would spend at least like 1 or 2 hours to get this 10% research done and then start using the tool, because then it can give me a lot of richer insights. The amount of time you spend here is going to get great ROI, because then you would have seen different angles. You would have optimized for different fears, pain points, problems, right? Because they're quite in depth. If you go here.
Harish, can I just interrupt you there for a second?
Yeah.
What's not entirely clear to me is the following. What I understand, what's very interesting about how you define the niche is that you can obviously, as you say, define the desires, the needs, the whole psychological profile in one workspace.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this specific for one piece of content, or is this specific to the workspace? What I'm trying to ask for that is the following. In our case, let's say we have one product for which we have 3 different buying personas. I imagine that I will create 3 workspaces for these 3 different buying personas. Then I have for 3 different buying personas, essentially a workspace. I then go into the market research part, try and find out more about each buying persona through the market research that you've defined here. Once I've done this market research, I go to the next step, which is I create a whole variety of different pieces of content for this specific buying persona that I've now defined through my niche research. Is that right? Or are you saying, no, you're creating only one single piece of content?
Each workspace is specific to a buyer persona, right? And then when you create content, it will only draw the context from that workspace.
Yeah, perfect. So it's, but you can create basically for that workspace a whole variety of different pieces of content, not just one.
Yeah. This workspace, this research will feed into multiple content, be it content, be it sales letter, because you see here.
And if I understand you correctly, the idea is that you're saying by doing this market research, you're focusing straight away on what you call the search intent, rather than just a dumb keyword, but you're focusing on the search intent because you've done your market research, you understand the pain points, the desire, etc. So your content is focused on what people are really trying to achieve rather than just a dumb keyword.
Exactly. Because
yeah, very good. Thank you.
Because if you see most of these bigger companies, they even pay a lot of money to get this market research done, and then they have it somewhere in their PowerPoints. And if they have a writing assignment, then they just refer it to, and somebody need to really understand business before they can even write a sales letter. Because writing a general content is okay, but when you are really talking about this sales letter, video scripts, when you're talking about your webinar scripts, when you're writing email content to your users, when you are providing a course, you're providing a course outline, right? It has to be very, very specific to your target audience.
Yeah.
And once you do 10% research, I will highly recommend you to try this kind of sales letter, because they are quite long form letters, and sometimes it needs a lot of expertise to write these sales letter in a specific format, because these are well tried and tested formulas from, like, these are the people who are in the market, like Ray Edward, Dan Kennedy, or these all kind of sales letter, they follow in a specific formula. So
Yeah.
you can get quite enriched content once you do this piece, and you don't need to do market research for every piece of this content, because you have done once.
Yeah. No, very good.
You can also go back and do search, like what is my big pain point, or because it's like, once you have the market research, there's a back system which is going to feed the right context to the right script. So there is a inner layer, and then AI is a mix of our own AI plus the open AI's GPT-3 to give it right direction and right context, and then generate the content. So it is fully user driven, and not like type some high level keyword and then you pray that it comes the best. But so randomness is minimized.
It's clever.
Right? But when you minimize the randomness, you also get a grammatical structure that you need to still correct it. But I can bet with you the amount of time you will spend if you hire someone and then to and fro, then you just create a content here and then work for next 30 minutes, correct some grammar, reorganize some sentence, and you're good enough for your landing page script, your blog post, or your social media post. I just sometime go through it, generate something, work for next 10-15 minutes, reorganize it, and directly post it on the Facebook group that I'm running. So it's not that I have worked on it full day or I hired someone, but it really works well because I have now all my argument. I have done all my market research for my project, and I can use it in multiple places in multiple content process.
Yeah. No, very good.
So you can use this different types of script, which is here. Once you have done market research, not necessarily you need to do competitor differentiation, topic modeling. What happened with the lifetime deal is we wanted to serve the whole package and then see and learn from it how you're going to use it. Now, once we go through towards this more like a subscription-based plan, which now we are working on after AppSumo deal is over, then it will be more quick win. So you start from market research, and then you are not going here, but directly through limited content scripts, because then for people flow will be easier, right? Now it might be a bit confusing because you see the whole piece of cake and you don't know where to cut it and how to eat it. So sorry for that. But you also have got the full cake when you wanted to use it, right? So and for obviously we learn from it. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you are limited on your market research, please try to create content using these scripts or AI content writer, where you can still get an outline on a structure of your content. So to give you just a rough idea, you start with main topic of interest. You still steer it what exactly you wanted to write the content, because here this main topic of interest is will fetching the relevant idea from Google, because it's a hybrid approach. You sort of combine the AI and the Google data together to provide you a content workflow where you can first get a miniature draft, this miniature outline, and then use the combination of Google data and AI to further enhance this content. So that way you also not totally using AI output, but you're having your own control as a user, like what exactly to use and what you don't want to use. Because if you completely create something, then also you might end up with something which is totally duplicated from other sources, right? So this way you have control on what you wanted to produce.
Harish, I have one small question. Is this integrated to the market research? For example, the AI content writer, would it sort of pick up the sort of cues from the market research and what we have inserted? Would that be sort of, in line with the AI content writer?
Yes, yes. I can again see my niche here when I set a project. This project that I opened was especially for schools, colleges, student, teacher, right? It is, in fact, it is mapped throughout the research. Let me show you the example. So when I go to content automation, AI content writer, I have my niche on the content automation, B2B content automation. So let's say I wanted to create, my main topic is I want to generate sales letter. This is my main topic. I wanted to create a sales letter. And the main purpose of is that I want to get more engagement, or I want to create a, let me write it. Let's see, United Kingdom. Here again, you can check back. My target audience was B2B SaaS founders, technology-oriented SaaS founders, and especially in that SaaS people who are creating sales and marketing sort of softwares, technology, SaaS industry. And I also define who is my ideal prospect. I think this is the first question that you, these are the 4 or 5 first questions that you answer, right, when you create a project. And here you can be very explicit. So this is the hypothetical name of my buyer persona, target audience, who they are, what is their specific situation, and what is problem they have, like in a very small 2-3 sentences. So not only this, but all the information you have done there is also getting feed into the system.
Harish, one quick question. What difference between the 3 different scripts that you selected?
If I go back here,
you mean bottom, select script.
Right. So this help you to create a headline structure, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then feed this structure to the AI to generate more content around it. This block tool is just like headline, intro, body, and then create content around it. This is just for like a high level meta description and title that people are generally doing for SEO purposes. But and we are adding more and more such scripts, right? And if you're creating content which is purely sales focused, landing pages, the webinars, the video scripts, the email content, I will advise you to use this sales copywriting result. But if you're creating a general blog, right, then use this approach. So for example, here we wanted to create a blog article on how to increase sales for SaaS companies, right? And then I want to create a blog article on benefits of using automation for increasing sales. Then I have country. The country is like because you wanted to target this blog in a particular region or place, right? So then our data will be also coming from that place. Then I use the headline as a script. Then different types of headline are there, right? So it can be how-to headlines where it is more focused on the result, fear, and time frame. These headlines are more using profitable power words. You can sort of try it out which work best. Also, sometimes we should be more clear in telling users in which situation you should use this and which situation not. So these information icon are supposed to be this, but let's work with this in this demo. And I have pre-filled with some examples. So what is a single big huge result they desire? They want to scale their content strategy. My buyer persona really want to scale their content strategy. My buyer persona also really want to write domain specific high quality content, or write domain specific high quality sales content. Then my buyer persona is really scared of mastering traditional sales and copywriting skills. My buyer persona is also scared of wasting time creating sales copy that doesn't convert, and they want to get this in less than 1 month. So I pre-filled it, but basically you can answer these 3-4 questions, and then it should allow you to generate a structure. I press the button quicker, but you can see here it is giving me a headline structure: how to scale content strategy without mastering traditional copywriting, so how to instantly write domain specific high quality sales content so that you can avoid wasting time creating sales copy that doesn't convert. So idea was that these headlines which are created will feed into the system and generate more content around it. So you see, we have not used the headline that we feed. This headline was just in steering to it, and we got new headlines: how to build lead nurturing campaigns that convert with killer sales copy. This is the intro that you wanted to use, and there is another headline: how to get easily more traffic from search engines. So based on these headlines, you have got more and more blog ideas and content ideas, and all this information that we used initially is also coming back. So these are all the headlines which were fed into the system, and this is like first structure that you get, and now you can use this information here. You have all your information from your competitors, right? You have all the topics that you want to, these are the headlines from your competitors. These are the paragraphs that you can use to get an idea to rewrite. Now you will see that we have also introduced this. So you don't want to go through this whole text. You want to get a question. So a question is generated, and then you want to answer this question in your own way. And we are now introducing our answering system as well. So question will be created from here, but that answer will borrow the context from your market research. So then it has a question, answer, and you can pick up this piece and put it into the content piece here in this stitching. So you can stitch a whole blog content like that.
I think I'm struggling with the last step. So if I'm not mistaken, you've used the headline script.
Yes.
That's correct. So that generated headlines for you.
Yes. And then some intro that this is the intro which I can use. So it's like me a guiding thing.
Yeah.
To create further is think this as an intro and a headline of the blog. Now you got some idea. You can directly go through all the competitor content that you have on this topic: how to increase sales for SaaS companies.
Yeah.
These are the different blog posts. Otherwise, what you would have done, you have opened 10 different tabs, gone to Google, grab all this content, go through it, and then try to extract and research information. Here, everything is then done here. So all the content that you want to understand, and they are also sorted in the high relevancy of this order. Yeah.
Sorry, this is only for this specific headline on the left there at the moment. So it's not for the whole for all the different headlines. Or how do I get to the next headline?
You mean these were the all headline we fed. You want to work with one blog, one content at a time, right? So you get one headline, you have the intro. Now you want to finish this blog or this content, right?
Yes.
You just don't want to have multiple headlines and then try to create 10 different blogs. You wanted to focus on one piece of content. So this is your headline of the content. This is some intro of the content, and how to fill. This is coming from your own bit research on this topic. Idea is not to give you like a fully formatted blog, but then because it will be same thing like a uncontrolled way of creating a blog, and then you are not creating very specific unique content.
Sure.
Right?
But understand this correctly, this is for a relatively short blog post, isn't it? Probably only maybe 100 words, 200 words.
Yes, you can just skim through some of these. You can even use this, modify some of the sentences here, use some of the question answer here. Question answer is just to frame, because you don't want to go through the whole content. You create a question, and then in the new version we are also helping you to generate answer of this. So this paragraph is converted into two questions. It says this come from the blog from HubSpot. This paragraph was saying this new technology comes and goes faster, blah, blah, blah. Now you don't want to read this. You want to use the context here to answer questions which is related to your blog, right?
Yes.
So what is the new app or widget that promises to make businesses more productive and efficient and effective? That's what we said in this, that I want to create a blog where I want to talk about technology, automations, which can help to bring more sales to my target audience. And then these are the different relevant content from your competitors. You can convert anytime, any content, any paragraph into questions. And those questions you can smartly use to create your blog.
But it won't rewrite for me some of those sections as such.
There is also a rewrite option. So you can use this rewrite option to rewrite this and then use it. This is just to, change some of the wordings here. So it has rewritten this paragraph, and it is still 88.93% similar to original text. Rewriting one more time will like make this text not usable, because then it's too much spinning of the context. So you can start using this paragraph directly here underneath here, and start developing more content. Suppose this is my subheadline. I can directly start using this content here.
Okay, can I ask a question or try to rephrase what you're trying to say? So effectively, you say that we decide on the block, on the title, on intersection, on particular situation. And on the right, you try to create, for me, some ideas from competitors, what they are using, and you help me to either use paragraph of text from them, which I can, for instance, shred and use in AI tool, another AI tool, to create a new text, completely new text.
Yes.
Or you can convert for me this, instead of shredding this paragraph, you can create questions, which I again can use in another AI tool to create answers for this text. To try to.
Yes.
So you see it in my other AI tool, for instance, with information researched from competitors. So effectively, on the right, you do research for me. You provide me some content which I can try to digest in another AI tool, for instance.
Yeah.
I can convert this text into questions. Then I have other tools which help me to answer these questions and I have to be intelligent enough to contribute myself as well.
Right.
But if I'm answering questions, there'll be no question of plagiarism anymore, because I'm answering a question.
That is the exact use case, because you don't want to create a plagiarism here, and you want to take these questions and answer in your own way. Now, what I said is we are releasing a new feature. We are almost done with this, where you will also be able to generate answer of this question using AI. And then it won't use this competitor content for that. It will use the context from your market research and what blog that you are creating for. And then this answer will be more tied to your own company market research than from your competitor. And of course, sometimes that answer might not fit exactly, but if you have multiple opportunities to generate multiple questions, multiple answers, then I'm sure you can like channel this into this right side and make a meaningful content. If you're still struggling from that point of view where you don't know how to structure it, how to fill the all this, you have another idea here. It's called generate log sketch. So this will generate a sort of sketch for you, and now you can start feeding into this sketch. So you can say, this is my headline, this 3-4 headline, this is the introduction, this is who's my target audience, this is education step 1, education step 2, education step 3 in my blog, this is promise I make to my target audience, what's your desire of your target audience. So once you are filling in this blog H, I, J, and you can strip of them later, you can create your own subheadline, but you have created a whole in-depth article based on this research. Now, if you see it or you're creating expectation, like you press the button and you get long form article, of course, this is not the tool for this. It's more research doing this. And I can assure you that if you are in a very specific domain, that clicking the button, getting long form article, it will just put a lot of duplicate content and the quality will not be good at some point of time. Here is more structured approach to get the quality content and also not duplicating content from your competitors, because I'm not using their content directly. I'm generating basically a question, and then this question I want to answer in my content, and not necessarily this when I answer this question, I don't want to answer from the perspective of my competitor, but from the perspective of my own business. But this question was relevant in the context of the blog that we started, how to increase sales for SaaS companies. This blog was written on that topic. So questions are relevant, but answers need to be, question is relevant at this stage, but you need to make the answer relevant. And that for also we are introducing a new system where you just press the button and you get answer, and that answer will borrow the context from your market research here. So that way you're not
going back to the rewrite engine. At this moment in time, you said there was only a rewrite, or sorry, the similarity score was something like still 88%.
yeah.
Can you increase that to something like 50%?
Decrease means you wanted to decrease it. You wanted to like get a variation of it, right?
Yes, exactly. And the similarity should be, at the moment there now it's 88%. Can you increase that to something like 50?
When I rewrite this, it's a bit random. It's very hard to control, because the moment I click more, I cannot go. We're trying to get it better, but the moment it will be 50, that means it's not usable, because in this rewrite, you're just spinning the grammar and not like rewriting the context. What rewrite actually you are looking for is the system where I can answer this question independently without reading this thing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get smart questions from competitor that they are trying to answer, but I don't want to rewrite their paragraph. This is just rewriting, so still it is sort of plagiarism.
The answer is there are other tools which are capable to rewrite it using GPT-3 tool in very efficient way, but they will spin a lot of rubbish because they don't understand necessarily what you want. They try to use this paragraph and decide what content is and how they can rewrite it completely. and you will need to do it 5-6 times to get something usable. There is no golden bullet to actually write it easily. But if you change this text into questions and then you write answer to questions, then plagiarism will disappear completely.
Yeah, I agree. It's very good.
I use this tool just to get some ideas and insights, just like all of us. And what happened is I did original content and I did a blog post, and this was an innovation. But you wouldn't believe this. When I did a plagiarism check, I mean, it said plagiarism found. Now, this is from my head, and I'm wondering how this plagiarism came from. So that was it just threw me apart, because I've done a lot of other blog posts, but this was the first one of its kind, which brought out the plagiarism, which was a bit surprising, because there was no content which I sort of replicated from any research or anything on those lines. It was straight from my own perception. So that was a bit strange, but anyway, I'm working on it.
I generally use a tool called Grammarly to get some checks.
That's what I do. That's what I do, Harish.
And it's not like there's a threshold, right? So anything that you write, somebody has written also on that. So it can be accidental that whatever you write, and it picks up like 10% of this as okay. So I would say 10, 15, 20%. Even Google says they are not checking content as when you are allowed to have same content on your website, same content on different places. You are allowed to repurpose the content in your own context, but you are not allowed to exactly place the same content as your competitor. Exactly 100% same sentences, same links, same authoritative references, right? That will harm you in the Google. But research is always like this. Even if you're writing for a scientific journal, you will be referring to 100 different places. You are referring to literature. You're quoting from the literature. So you cannot go 100% a new content, and that's not perhaps the idea as well. You don't want to reinvent the wheel.
No.
What you want to do is you want to smartly stitch this content, which makes perfect sense, and it add value to your target audience. The value part is most important, because as long as they can read it, understand it, and you can persuade them to take actions, that's the best part of it. And the most important is like here we are not really creating educational content. We are not creating fictional content or content which is more knowledge, because there's a lot of knowledge already there on internet, on Wikipedia, if you just search something. But we want to create a very focused content, which we want to persuade our target audience to take some specific steps that we want them to take. So that's where it's important to understand buyer journey, do market research. And that's why I think for some people it's difficult to get this idea. But if you are completely new, you don't need to start from market research. You can also start here from market spying research, which give you more in-depth research, to where you wanted to go. So give me some topic, for example, you are interested in.
Niche perfume. Try that, niche perfume.
Like this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah.
Niche perfume. So what you get here is different trending words: niche perfume brands, niche perfume meaning, niche perfume samples, houses, subscription, definition, niche perfume oils. Then, so these are the people search. So these people are searching on the Google with these terms. So this is one idea you get. These are related trending topics on this main seed topic. I'm not calling them deliberately like the long tail of keywords. I'm saying keyword topic. So keyword topic is your seed idea, niche perfume. And then you have a lot of things around here like these trending topics. You can unlock insights first to understand it more better. So it's again, because we have not answered many questions, so I didn't get many answers here. What idea would my target audience would have? I didn't get answer here. What would my target audience have suspicion about niche perfume? So 10 cents per minute, like the free telephone, what would like my target audience about niche perfume? What is this niche perfume? Can you tell me more about it?
Niche perfume is perfume from small brands. It's very different, very unique. You know, you've got big brands like Chanel, but if every woman wears Chanel #5, there's no difference. And niche perfume is the same as, you know, craft cheese or craft beer or, you know, boutique fashion. A lot of consumers are nowadays looking for products which are unusual and difficult to find, and they use it to differentiate themselves from other people.
Right. I got. Yeah.
So much of what we buy nowadays is the same in every country, and
Right.
every shop even.
So I got here something useful. So what questions my target audience would have about niche perfumes? So it isn't they build the blind, they don't buy at all. So the reason being is that they think it's the best to buy perfume. So that's the suspicion my target audience will have. They don't think that it will be effective for them. It's again a suspicion about perfumes. They don't trust the fragrances. There's suspicion about this perfume. They don't trust that it will be on sale. They don't think it will have an extended customer service. They don't believe a money back guarantee exists on these niche perfumes. So these are the initial ideas, and you can go with these initial ideas into more in-depth understanding of this. Maybe this topic is a bit difficult for to start with, but once you go deeper into it, you get more ideas. You see here, niche perfume ideas, niche perfume FAQs, niche perfume suspicion, niche perfume benefits, dreams, desires, questions. I will start like something like this, niche perfume benefits, and then you will get from Google a lot of already an idea, because it's good when you are starting this idea and you want to validate it and get it more and more better in explaining this idea. So before you start market research, I would do this exercise to go through these different sources, take some, pin down something into my notes, and then use this information to steer the AI towards more meaningful, more accurate information, right? Because if I have a moving target, then it's very difficult also for AI to fix this. And you can go here quite detailed. You can go to podcast directories about this. You can go to social media research about this topic. You can do video research. You can go to news like Medium, Bing, Yahoo. You can go to WikiHow, Quora. You can see if there are some tools and books available on this. So when you are a business owner and you are working on these topics, you have done some already, some sort of basic research on it. And if you have not done, then these are the idea to help you further with this. Maybe I type here perfumes and then start with this, and then go to more questions, what questions people are asking in search engine about perfumes. So perfume for women, men, perfume, the homeware perfume.
It's for men as well, for women.
Yeah, perfume brands. And now you can see here the different types of questions people ask on the perfume. So you can start with who, why, which, what type of question. Who made perfumes, who discovered perfume, who regulate perfume, who are perfumes of London, who started perfumes. You can focus on what questions, what perfumes do celebrities wear. So if you start from seed keyword, you can really go into more depth, and then you can take these questions again use maybe this tool or some other tool, but you can also note down and then pinpoint your research, because when you come to this market research, you already have some direction to take. And if you don't have direction to take, then I would suggest to follow through this approach, market spine wizard, search intent discovery, because then it will give you a direction to focus. And when you have a direction to focus, you can then use this framework to stay focused. And you don't need to go all the way, because if your business is just started, you don't have testimonials, you don't have case studies, you can come back again, put more information here, and again you can use this as for your business strategy, content strategy. So it's not like one time tool you do here, you come back here, you optimize it, and you start spinning out the content more and more. And then you don't need to hire copywriters, SEO agencies for this, because this works well for you as an individual business person. If you are also running an agency, if you are handling portfolio of 50 clients, then also it is useful, because then you can collect all the structured information for your clients and can help them. So both use cases are fulfilled. Only thing is the way you will use as an individual solopreneur is different than if you are running an agency which catering to the needs of 50 different clients.
A quick question on this here. Let's say in our case, we do perfume in England and in the US, but now we're thinking about doing it in Germany. Is this, does your tool work for different languages?
Languages we have not yet integrated. We are planning to integrate language more in the Q3 of this year. But if you think in this way, that we can provide the same option here. So if you search in the German language, and when you do the search, or French language, when you do the search, like to type the perfume and maybe some keyword which is.
So in German, for example, it would be Duft, D-U-F-T.
Like this?
This means perfume in German.
Duft.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it will work, but I would have used something like what we are extending is like a keyword and then also country selection. Then it will work. But I will show you in a different context.
Okay.
Does this make sense? Duct, definition, duct. I don't know. This is not right?
No, because it's mixing languages.
Yes. But let's say that we want to target in Germany.
Yes.
And we want to understand who are our competitors. So then we can do like this. Duct, and can you say a word in Germany which says like perfume providers or
Lieferanten, or let's say brands, for example. So if you just type in M-A.
Merken and market. Yeah, I got it. Then we say
Germany.
Yeah. This bit on competitor topic, slow in the result because it's grab a lot of information, try to present it, but we're trying to optimize it because we get a lot of customer complaint that it runs a long time. But also the information that it's trying to gather is also quite a lot.
Harish, I've got a question. In many instances, I've noticed that you put country specific in some instances. Is there a place, for example, if my market is Pan-Africa or it is part of Asia or UK or Europe, is there any way I could have a broader sort of, rather than just being one particular country, a broader region?
Yeah, generally, when you want to have more global or broader region, you won't like to define a country, but it works quite well if you just choose United States, or then it becomes sort of global because most of the search Google traffic happens in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of general people think about it, but I don't know if Google, you can, I think, define something like a global parameter. So then it do not really take care of the country settings. And I think we can do that in this tool. Where
would you be able to have that sort of region specific sort of thing in future? Do you think that's something you could work on? Because I'll tell you why. I've got programs like Finance for Directors and I've got Progression to Excellence. I've got some programs which I sell. And I see that they are being purchased from Asia, from Europe, from Africa. So I'm trying to, I'm trying to figure out that if I'm trying to look into one particular aspect, then, I could, it would be specific. The pattern would be the same. It would be that specific cohort of sector or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But if it is region, if there are certain regions, that would be useful. That would be really helpful as well.
Yeah, first we go with the country and the language setting. So we here in this example use the German language as a query, Duft Merken, and then country was Germany. All the keywords now Whip can help me. I'm sure these are all coming in German. Merken perfume of Rechnung Bestellen, Parfümmarken alphabetisch, Parfümmarken aus Frankreich, right? Oh. Then it also picks up, of course, here some dilution happened because of the common words that we are working on it. Also, it didn't pick up some characters which are specific to a language. So this is also a work point or improvement point for us. But it can pick up the competitors. And now you see all the sites are .de, so .de. That means they are coming from German. And then you can understand bit competition on this. Who are the different competitors? It also get in summary, also in the all headlines and summary of that article in 2-3 lines, only in German, right? So this was an like implementation or MVP version for us to implement and see how it works, and then we can roll it out to all other content pieces as well, one by one. That's what they are working on it.
But it's pretty good actually, because you immediately start to get some different keywords in the different language. What's interesting as well is that when you look on the right-hand column there, the first word is Duftmarke, and then you say the third one down, it says Parfummarken.
Mm-hmm.
And the Germans do use the French word like that, parfum. So it's picking up good words actually. And what you're describing, I mean, what's interesting there, below the text that you highlighted, it says, Markenparfum günstig online kaufen, Flaconi. You can see that they have in there the U umlaut. So that's the U with the 2 dots on top.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some of the, the letters missing in your previous key phrases, that seem to be the umlauts, the German umlauts.
Okay. Yes, umlauts is like this character with 2 dots, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. We've got it. It was just like some library of language that is missing. We are working on it, but it will improve, I think. And there's some section here when you do your market research, you can refer all your notes, insights here, and you can edit them. You can make them as crisp as you would like to have them, and you can just refer to them whenever you come back. I'm generally also using this to create social media posts, like a small post. I created more of these kind of posts here in the group where I created a story, I created a small post, big post, and there are more resources here on the website where you can go through. Also, I wanted to talk about this, conscious of the time, but this workflow might be useful to look at. It's small on the screen, but when you get a start, you can start a rough idea about who is your target audience, niche, sub-niche, micro niche, and then you can get from this, you don't need to go into deep dive approach. So if you just define niche, sub-niche, micro niche, vertical, ideal prospect, and you have rough idea of it from doing this market spying wizard search intent that I showed you. If you have initial rough direction, you just fill these answers, and then you can directly jump to the AI content writer, sales copywriting, text rewriter. It will still give you a good result, and it will be creative enough. But then this quick gains is low quality output when you are really looking into very niche specific domain content. I mentioned in the beginning, there is a trade-off. And if you are really looking for this quick gains in even if perfume market or weight loss, it should give you good enough result because the language models are trained on the large data, and large data available on the internet is always about this weight loss, beauty, perfumes, right? But when you are really talking about real estate flippers, house mortgage market, and then in that the flippers who are buying, people buying houses, do some construction, sell them, and a specific type of target audience who do this, and you wanted to create some value proposition, either a service or product for them, then you're really going into deep diving into a specific market in London of people who flips, who are in the age group of 40, 45, they have some kind of savings, and then they wanted to use it to generate passive income. That's how you will build your story, right? And then feed into the tool like this niche, sub niche, and then you can jump into this to get even meaningful content. But more contextual, more deeper, it becomes a bit difficult to get the quality out of it. Then you will use this extended approach. You will further refine your ideas from market spying wizard, search intent, feed into more these whole niche section, the psychographics, promise. You will perform all these 5 top categories, and then you can also look into competitor topic modeling. And then you have 2 options. You can create short form content using the AI content rewriter or text summarizer, or you can go to again the AI content writer or sales copywriting to create long form content. So it depends on your use case, your target market. If you need to really go deep, I suggest this approach. It's not that it will be best, because you would have created so much content already while filling this information, and you can access this via this notes section. So this notes section will give you again access to the information that you have, and then you can create some content already using this notes. We are almost,
the workflow is a good idea to, at least for us at the beginning, I presume, to get an idea on how to use the tool and to get started.
Mhm. I mean, when I do the market research, I get this content generated, which I cleaned up, which I removed some repetition. We're also working on it to make it more and more crisp. But this information you can use in your emails, in your social media posts, LinkedIn posts. Already you are sort of getting like content created, which is saved in one place, and you can sort of leverage on this, right? So all this in all the time that you spend on market research will be highly useful, not only creating a context and later feeding it into the automation, but also you have these notes saved for you to refer back and use this text snippets for your LinkedIn post, Facebook post, or any kind of other email campaign that you have, or even to instruct your team members to write something which is they can follow from here.
Harish, Notes is just recently that has been updated, am I right? It wasn't there before?
Yeah, I think we are updating a lot of things quite fast.
Yes,
So
yes,
maybe
yes.
you might not have seen this. Also, you can search when you have done your market research. You can also do the search like your main pain points or your niche, or it's initially it's a bit slow, but then it works quite fast. So hopefully you find this demo quite useful. I put the screen on the other side, so you look me, I'm looking other side, but here on the second screen.
Yes, Harish, I think what you explained and the insights I have picked up is surely a huge investment for me. And for me, I would like to fill in as many, of those grid parameters that you have as possible, because I know it's going to be a time investment, but it's going to be time well spent. And now that you've got the notes as well, that even helps further, because you now have all the condensed sort of text and whatever it is related to whatever your products or services are. I think that is really brilliant, and there's so much in there. What's
It is,
and another thing is, what for me is that I now have a clear roadmap, which I didn't have earlier on prior to me taking up this particular feature. So I now have a different roadmap altogether. Just one question. I know I'm wary of time, but just one question. What's the roadmap ahead for you, Harish? I mean, what else are you expecting to unfold or unpack as we move forward in the next phase of 2021 and beyond?
our main goal is to make the tool more usable in terms of improvement in UI, UX, make it distinctive, differentiated tool from other similar tools which are available in the market, to focus more on the target audience research. So in that sense, when we are differentiated and focusing on solving this market research problem, you can combine this tool with other tool as well. And in this way, we provide a differentiated, unique value to our users. Next up, once we launch on AppSumo, was the more idea to validate it and get feedback. So we are working on all these feedbacks, and now we are trying to launch an subscription-based funnel. So entry-level plan, basic, pro plan, and then of course in lifetime deal you get the whole package. That's why I'd say in the beginning full cake and very confused where to start, what pie to take, right? But for the subscription based, of course, it will start with a limited set of options, but it's still very valuable in that price point of in that price point entry point, right? Then people can upgrade if they want more advanced options, or if their use case, their niche is very specific, and they want the tool to become more contextual, more meaningful in their niche, then they can upgrade this plan and go to the advanced plan where more information will be mapped to the market research, from the market research to the content automation. So that's a roadmap, I would say, and not blindly rely on GPT-3 AI, but also create our own layer in between, which talk to the AI and user. So this layer should control the quality of the output and then also give you some KPIs. So when you create a blog post, you should be able to see some traffic light indicators, red, amber, green, saying that this content is 80% close to your market research, 20% different from your competitors, and you
Wow.
can make it. You can use these insights to make it more, differentiated. So that's our goal, to create some KPIs and let our users understand that what action they can perform to keep it aligned with their market research, different from competitors, and optimize it for the keywords that they want to use on the search engine.
I would have to say, Harish, for me, the USP that you have, the part that's unique really is your market research part. You know, you can create the buying personas where you can do the research into different things. That part is really, really clever because with this information, what you do in terms of writing content is always going to be superior to what anybody else does in terms of AI. And it's, you know, on the AI, there's lots and lots and lots of companies out there, and they're all, you know, using pretty much the same. What sets you apart really is this, the market research part, the creation of the buying personas, and to use that to focus the content. That's clever. And I also like your traffic light system. I think that's very good, where you say, look, this matches your, going back to linking it with your market research, but also saying it's different from your competitors. I think that's very good. I don't know whether it's possible to have maybe something like a buying intent or an intent indicator or something like that in there. That would be good.
Yeah, we'll do the research on this, and not like completely focus on SEO type of buying intent, but more focused towards the pain point,
Exactly.
the key areas of our target audience research. Because the actual buying intent come from deep inside of those emotions, desires, and those research that we have done, right?
Yes, that I think is really, really clever, and that will always set you apart, because it's a completely different approach. Don't try to do too much.
Yeah,
it would be taking the research and linking it to the AI writing. That part is just really clever and will be really strong. You know, you quite rightly point out that we as humans still need to be smart to rewrite the content. That's fine, there's no problem. So you don't need to be too much. Just focus on really the good things.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. Really good. My compliments.
Thank you for this. Thank you. Anything else, Vijay, Victor, I can answer on this call?
No, I think, I mean, from my end, I'm just, I'm very happy that you've given us this insights. Thank you so much. I mean, really appreciate all the insight. It's given me a different perspective, a different dimension of thought, a different lens to work with. So I think I'm more psyched up now that I know exactly what the, you know, pattern of thinking is and what I'm supposed to do. And, you know, just like what Hugh mentioned about the market research and that aspect, that's a game changer altogether and sets the building block to the next level. So thank you very much, Harish.
Thank you. Likewise, appreciate that I have the opportunity to speak to you. Any last question, Victor? I can take.
Yeah, well, Harish, I think that it was really interesting to listen to you, and I look forward to try to see the quality of other things, not necessarily blog writing, but email writing and other things which you seem to have in your tool. And well, it's things which I have to try.
Right.
If it's working well, it's very valuable.
Right. It's always to manage your own expectation from these tools as well, because there's no like a happy dream situation where you press the button and everything works well, because ultimately they are like also created models by human and ideas, right? It's still artificial intelligence, but as long as it can save your time, it can increase the amount of information in a nice way, which you not have thought, and it would have taken you more time to bring this together in a more meaningful way, persuasive way. Then I think the ROI of the tool is still good, because then you can avoid hiring very expensive services and still use it, and you are in full control of it, right? That's important.
It's true. For me, there's also a part whereby, you know, your market research is giving, well, I hope at least will give us extra insights as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You can look so much at Google and you see so many things, but it's difficult to find clear buying personas in there. And the market research part for me is something that I'm very keen to find out more about as well, because it looks clever. It looks very promising. I have one other quick question for you.
Yes.
For me, this intro seminar that you've done, the webinar, is really good, fantastic. I'm sure there will be a time in maybe 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time where it will be interesting to catch up again based on what we've done and learned in the meantime and experienced. Are there, let's say, follow-up webinars, or how do you do this with your user base? Do you have something like a Friday session where you would say, ask me anything, and people like us that are still learning can listen into it or ask our own questions? Or how does that work?
You can also join the Slack group, and where I'm very active there. I also answer you like as soon as sometime it takes some time, but we have a Slack channel running, and you can join from this link inside the tool to the Slack channel. You see, we have many people joined here, and I continuously get questions here. It's loading, but this is this sign here.
Yeah.
And then you can ask me direct question there as well. I'll try to answer it as soon as I can.